Silence is not strength. It is only strength when it no longer hopes to be heard. That's the hard truth, my friends. You've been told that if you disappear, if you stop calling, if you stop showing up, somehow the other person will feel an earthquake of longing in their chest. But let me break it to you. Silence by itself doesn't shake the ground. It's just air with no echo. Now here's the hook. If you think your silence alone is power, you're fooling yourself. Power isn't in muting your voice, it's in mastering your center. And today, we're going to uncover why your silence isn't making them miss you and what real silence, Stoic silence, actually looks like. But before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe to Stoic Station, and drop a comment when I tell you later, because this isn't just a video, folks, it's a mirror. Hey folks, imagine this. A man stands in the middle of a crowded room. He folds his arms, zips his lips, and refuses to say a word. To him, he looks mysterious, powerful, untouchable. But to everyone else, he just looks like a man sulking in the corner, hoping someone will ask him what's wrong. That's what many of you are doing with silence right now. You've stepped out of the conversation, but your heart is still screaming, "Notice me." And trust me, people can feel that. Silence without strength is like an empty drum. It makes noise, but it has no depth. I know what you're telling yourself. If I don't text her, if I don't call him, if I vanish, they'll start missing me. You imagine them scrolling through old pictures, playing your memories like their favorite playlist, aching for the sound of your voice. But my friends, here's the lie. That only happens when your silence is backed by transformation. Otherwise, your absence isn't a mystery. It's just camouflage for the same old longing. Let me give you a picture. Think of a shadow. A shadow doesn't change the shape of a man, it just hides him. Silence without growth is the same. You're not taller, you're not stronger, you're not wiser. You're just hiding in the dark, hoping someone notices your outline. And that's not power. That's weakness dressed up as patience. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the difference. Silence that's born from discipline, from purpose, from self-respect. That silence can move mountains. But silence that's born from fear, from waiting, from hoping, they'll never feel that. Because deep down, your energy is still chasing. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not here to bash you. I've been there myself. I've thought that going quiet was enough. But I want you to wake up. Real silence is not about muting your phone. It's about unchaining your heart. It's about reclaiming every ounce of energy you've been leaking into their world and redirecting it into your own. Let me add a little fun to this. You ever try to ignore a dog hoping it will respect you? Doesn't work, right? The dog just keeps circling, sensing your attention even when you don't give it food. People are the same. They can feel when your silence is full of longing, and they can feel when your silence is full of strength. One makes you forgettable, the other makes you unforgettable. So the question, my friends, is not, will they miss me if I stay silent? The real question is, what will I build in the silence? Because silence is just space. It can either become a prison where you wait for their return, or a forge where you hammer yourself into the man or woman you were meant to be. And before we go further, I want you to drop this in the comments. Silence with strength. Write it. Prove to yourself that this is the silence you're going to choose from this day forward. Because you don't need their attention to be powerful. You need your own discipline, your own clarity, your own purpose. That's where real presence comes from. So stay with me, my friends. Hit the like button, subscribe to Stoic Station, and keep watching. Because what I'm about to show you will change the way you see every quiet moment from this day forward. Silence isn't weakness. Silence isn't chasing. Silence is strength when you make it yours. Stay with me. Affirmation, silence with strength. Write it in the comments. Number 1, silence without strength is just a shadow. A shadow doesn't prove your presence, it only proves the light behind you. Let that sink in, my friends, because so many of you have convinced yourselves that silence is the ultimate weapon. You cut off the calls, you stop the texts, you vanish from their notifications, and in your mind you imagine them pacing in circles, missing you like a heartbeat gone missing. But here's the hard truth. You're not being mysterious, you're being a shadow. And shadows never change a man, they only hide him. Think about it. Imagine a man standing in front of a mirror at sunset. Behind him, the light fades and his shadow stretches across the wall. He looks at it and tells himself, "That's power, that's me." But the reality? It's nothing. It can't touch, it can't move, it can't breathe. It only copies. And that's what silence without strength is. It's a copy of the man you think you are, not the one you've become. Now ask yourself this. What is your silence really saying? Is it saying, "I've risen, I've rebuilt, I've moved on"? Or is it whispering, "I'm still watching, I'm still waiting, I hope you notice I'm gone"? Because if it's the second, my friends, then your silence isn't power. It's pursuit in disguise. And trust me, they can feel it. People are wired to sense the truth beneath actions. You can disappear from their phone, but if your energy is still chained to them, they'll feel it every time your name crosses their mind. The fear creeps in, doesn't it? The fear that if you don't stay silent, you'll look desperate. But if you stay silent and they don't miss you, then what? That's the trap. You build silence like it's a cage to hold them in. But in reality, you've only locked yourself inside it. And you tell yourself stories. They'll scroll through our old photos. They'll remember the good times. They'll ache for me. But let me break that lie wide open. Silence doesn't create longing. Transformation does. Picture this. A man stops talking, stops reaching out. He thinks he's disappearing, but late at night he's still checking their social media, scrolling through pictures, replaying old conversations like they're carved into his bones. He's still orbiting them like a planet stuck in their gravity, only now he's doing it quietly. That isn't mystery, that's obsession. And folks, obsession can be felt louder than words. They don't need to see your messages to know you're still thinking of them. They can sense it in your posture, in the way you hold yourself when you walk into a room, in the restless eyes that can't help but search for a ghost. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But here's the catch. Most of you are trying to use silence to control someone else's reaction. You've made silence a fishing line, casting it out into the dark, hoping to reel back their attention. But Stoicism teaches us the opposite. True power isn't found in controlling them, it's found in controlling you. And that's why silence without strength is empty, because it's still about them, not about you. Ask yourself again, if they never think of you, if they never miss you, if their life goes on without a pause, would your silence still feel powerful? Or would it feel like a wasted effort? That's the test, my friends. If your silence collapses the moment they don't react, then it wasn't power to begin with. It was weakness dressed in quiet clothes. I know why it's difficult. Because silence feels safer than action. It feels like you're doing something when really you're just standing still. It feels like patience, but it's just waiting in disguise. And waiting is still chasing, only slower. That's why so many men fall into this trap. They'd rather vanish and hope instead of face the fire of becoming more. But here's the truth you need to hear. Silence only becomes strength when it's backed by transformation, when it's filled with work, growth, purpose. Otherwise, it's just a pause button, not progress. Think of a blacksmith's forge. The silence inside that workshop isn't empty. It's the silence of focus, of hammer striking steel, of fire shaping metal. That's the kind of silence that speaks. It doesn't wait to be noticed. It creates something so undeniable that the world can't ignore it. So rise from the lie that silence alone makes you powerful. Stop hiding behind shadows. Step into the forge. Build your body until your presence is felt without a word. Sharpen your mind until your ideas move faster than their opinions. Anchor your spirit so deeply that no rejection, no absence, no person can shake it. That's when your silence becomes thunder. That's when you walk into a room and people feel something different, not because you're waiting, but because you've become. My friends, silence is not about disappearing from their world. It's about reappearing in your own. It's about filling the quiet with purpose so strong that it drowns out every old longing. And when you do that, something shifts. Not in them, but in you. And ironically, that's when they notice. But by then, you won't care, because you'll finally see the truth. Your silence was never about making them miss you. It was about making you meet yourself. Write this in the comments right now. No more shadows. Say it, show it, prove it to yourself and to the world around you, because the day you stop hiding and start building is the day your silence stops chasing them and starts echoing as strength. And stay with me, because what comes next will open your eyes even further. You'll see why waiting in silence without change is the biggest trap of all, and how breaking free from it will make you unshakable. Number 2. The trap of waiting instead of transforming. Waiting is not patience, it's just another form of dependence. That line might sting, my friends, but let it sting, because sometimes pain is the teacher that cracks open the truth. You've been sold the idea that no contact, silence and distance will somehow work magic on the heart of the person who walked away. You think if you just wait long enough, they'll grow curious, they'll feel the void, and they'll come back knocking at your door. But waiting isn't strength. Waiting is weakness that wears a mask. Imagine this picture. A soldier lays down his weapon in the middle of a battlefield. He tells himself, if I just stand still long enough, my enemy will surrender. That's what waiting looks like, folks. You've cut the calls, stopped the messages, deleted their number maybe, but deep down, you haven't moved an inch. You're still pacing circles in the same mental room, replaying the same memories, watching the same shadows. You're not moving forward. You're just pausing, hoping the universe does the heavy lifting for you. But life doesn't reward pause. Life rewards progress. And here's the hard truth you don't want to admit. Waiting is still chasing. You've replaced words with silence, replaced running after them with staring at the door, but the energy hasn't shifted. You're still chained to the same post, only now the chain is invisible. You tell yourself, I'm strong, I'm disciplined, I'm doing no contact. But if every day you wake up wondering whether they've noticed your absence, you're not practicing strength, you're practicing dependence, and dependence is the opposite of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." My friends, waiting is exactly that. It's not living. You're holding your breath, waiting for someone else to breathe life back into your lungs. But that's not strength, that's surrender. And here's why it's so dangerous, because time doesn't create attraction, it only magnifies what already exists. If nothing inside you changes, nothing outside you will either. You'll be the same man or woman they walked away from, only now with more silence, more emptiness, and more wasted time. Think about it like this. Imagine you plant a seed in dry soil. You don't water it, you don't feed it, you don't expose it to sunlight. You just stare at it, waiting for it to grow. That's what waiting in silence is. The seed doesn't sprout because the conditions haven't changed, and when nothing changes, nothing grows. So what are you doing, my friends? Are you nurturing the soil of your own life, or are you just staring at dead ground, hoping something will bloom? The lie of waiting is powerful because it feels safe. Action risks failure, growth risks discomfort, but waiting feels easier. It tells you, just hold on, just give it time. And so you sit in the waiting room of your own life, watching the clock tick, convincing yourself you're being strong. But waiting is not strength. Waiting is fear of moving without them, and fear disguised as strategy is still fear. Now let me hit you with something raw. If they don't come back, will you still be proud of who you became? Sit with that question, because if the answer is no, then your silence isn't a power move, it's a gamble. You've put your entire worth on someone else's reaction, and that's not power, that's captivity. Stoicism teaches us sovereignty, ruling ourselves, not being ruled by circumstances. Waiting makes you a servant to time, to hope, to someone else's choices. Transformation makes you the master of your own life. But here's where it gets beautiful. You don't have to stay in that trap. You can turn silence into transformation, but it requires movement. It requires stepping into the fire of change. And this isn't about faking growth to impress them. This is about real, measurable progress that builds you from the inside out. You want to know how you know you're transforming. When silence stops being something you have to force and starts being something you live naturally, because your focus is so consumed by your own mission that you forget to wait. Picture yourself setting a 90-day target for your body. Not just a random gym membership you never use, but a commitment to change how you move, how you stand, how you show up. Imagine setting a 6-month target for your mind. One new skill, public speaking, coding, negotiation, something that raises your value in the marketplace and pays you for life. Imagine cutting out 3 anchors from your environment. The playlist that drags you back to old memories, the places that haunt you with echoes of them, the people who keep their name alive in your ears. Now your silence isn't empty. It's filled with progress. It's alive. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's the essence of transformation. Waiting says, "I'll be who I was, just quieter." Transformation says, "I will become who I was meant to be, whether they see it or not." And that's the shift you need to make, my friends. Because waiting is still facing their door. Transformation is building your own house, brick by brick, until you no longer care if their door ever opens again. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop waiting, the moment you stop measuring your growth against whether they notice, is the moment you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to attract them, but because growth is attractive by nature. It speaks without words, it radiates without effort, it commands attention without asking. But by the time they notice, you'll be so far ahead that their reaction won't matter. And that, my friends, is freedom. So I ask you again, are you waiting or are you transforming? Are you sitting in the waiting room of your past, staring at a closed door, or are you stepping into the forge of your own becoming? Because every day you spend waiting is a day stolen from your future, and every day you spend transforming is a day invested in the man or woman you were born to be. Write this in the comments right now. No more waiting. Say it out loud, type it in, prove it to yourself and to the world. Because the moment you declare it, the moment you choose action over pause, is the moment you step out of the trap. And when you step out of the trap, you step into freedom. Stay with me, my friends, because what comes next will open your eyes even wider. We'll uncover why they don't feel your absence the way you think they do, and why silence without transformation is invisible. That truth might be hard to hear, but it will set you free. Number 3. Why they don't feel your absence. Absence only matters when presence once had weight. That's the brutal truth, my friends. Let it cut a little, because it has to. So many of you believe that silence, distance, and no contact will automatically stir something deep inside them. You think they'll wake up one morning, glance at their phone, see no messages from you, and suddenly feel a storm of emptiness in their chest. But here's the reality. If your presence wasn't powerful when you were around, your absence won't echo when you're gone. Think about it like this. If a candle has never been lit, does the darkness care when it's blown out? Of course not. The room doesn't even notice because nothing changed. That's what silence without substance feels like. You leave, but if you never burned brightly enough, the void is barely noticeable. The truth is, people don't miss what wasn't felt deeply in the first place, and they don't feel your absence just because you stopped speaking. They feel it only if you've transformed into something their mind can't ignore. Now, let's break the illusion. Many of you imagine them scrolling through old photos, replaying your voice in their head, aching for the comfort you gave them. But here's the problem. If you're still chained to that idea, you haven't really left. You're not silent, you're waiting, you're not detached, you're orbiting them from the shadows, and guess what? They can sense it. Humans are wired to read energy far more than words. They might not see your texts, but they can feel whether you're still tethered to their world. Silence with longing is not absence, it's invisible pursuit. Picture this. A man deletes their number, cuts contact, and tells himself he's strong. But at midnight, he's still refreshing social media, searching for hints, replaying memories like old movies. On the surface, he's gone, but energetically, he never left. And whether they're conscious of it or not, they can sense it. Because presence is not just about being in the same room, it's about where your energy points. And if all your energy is still bent toward them, then your absence is an illusion. Epictetus once said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself." Your silence is one of those circumstances. It doesn't make you powerful, it reveals whether you truly are. And if what it reveals is longing, waiting, obsession, then your absence will be weightless. They won't feel the void because you never filled it with substance in the first place. Now, here's where fear sneaks in. You fear that if you don't play the silence game, you'll look desperate. But you also fear that if you do stay silent and they don't miss you, then you've lost. That fear keeps you chained in place, hoping, waiting, scrolling, watching, but never growing. And that's why your absence doesn't hit them. Because absence only hits when presence is replaced by progress. Imagine two men. One goes silent, but fills the silence with waiting, scrolling, replaying. The other goes silent and fills the silence with transformation, building his body, sharpening his mind, locking into purpose. When their names come up months later, the first is invisible, unchanged, easy to forget. The second, his name carries weight. People say, he's doing something now. He's different. That's the absence that stings, not because he wanted it to, but because he became someone undeniable. Here's another metaphor for you. A river that stops flowing doesn't make anyone thirsty. It just dries up and disappears into the dirt. But a river that is redirected, dammed, and channeled into something new, that river builds power. It irrigates fields, turns turbines, brings life. Which river do you want to be? The one that disappears quietly into the ground, or the one whose silence fuels something greater? The lie you've been living under is this: if I stop talking, they'll start wondering. But people don't wonder about silence. They wonder about change. They wonder when they hear whispers of you doing something unexpected, building something remarkable, living in a way that no longer revolves around them. That's when curiosity creeps in, not because you withdrew words, but because you redefined your world. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Silence is not what matters, it's what you do with it. If your silence is just a pause, it won't move them. If it's a forge, if it's a transformation, then absence becomes a statement. Not a cry for attention, but a demonstration of strength. So why don't they feel your absence? Because you're still making them the center. Every quiet second is still about them. Every pause is still a waiting room, and people can sense when they are still your anchor, even if you say nothing. Real absence begins when you shift the anchor back to yourself, when your silence is not about them at all, but about what you're building. That's when absence grows heavy. Not because you're trying to be heavy, but because your life has become so full that its gravity is undeniable. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop caring whether they feel it is the moment they do. When your silence stops being a strategy and starts being the byproduct of your growth, that's when it becomes powerful. Until then, it's just waiting. And waiting, my friends, never made anyone miss you. So let me leave you with this picture. Imagine they saw you tomorrow. Would they see the same person they walked away from, just quieter? Or would they see someone unrecognizable, someone who radiates strength without saying a word? That's the only absence that matters, the one backed by undeniable presence. Write this in the comments. Presence creates absence. Write it, show it, remind yourself every time you're tempted to wait instead of transform. Because your silence is not the message. You are. And if you don't change, your absence will be invisible. Stay with me, my friends, because what comes next will be even harder to hear, but even more freeing. We're going to talk about the Stoic principle of control and why using silence to manipulate someone else will always fail. Once you see this truth, you'll never waste another second waiting for their reaction. You'll reclaim every ounce of power for yourself. Number 4. The Stoic principle: control what you can. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's Marcus Aurelius, my friends, and it's a truth that slices through every illusion we hold after being left, betrayed, or ignored. Because let's be real, most of you are trying to use silence as a rope to pull someone back. You've stopped speaking, stopped reaching, and in your head, you believe you're in control. But here's the brutal wake-up call. If your silence is about making them react, then you're not in control at all. You're still chained to their choices. And Stoicism teaches us that the only chains that matter are the ones we willingly wear. Picture this with me. A fisherman casts his line into the ocean. He reels it back, waits, casts it again, and waits some more. He convinces himself that patience is power, but what he doesn't realize is that every toss of that line is still dependence. He's still trying to hook something that's outside of his control. That's exactly what many of you are doing with silence. You've turned no contact into a fishing line, hoping that by throwing your absence out there, you'll reel in their curiosity, their regret, their love. But folks, the sea doesn't answer to the fisherman. It answers to its own currents. This is the trap. Confusing control with influence. Influence says, if I stay silent, they might miss me. Control says, whether they miss me or not, I will build myself into someone stronger. Influence is fragile. It depends on another person's emotions, which shift like the wind. Control is steady. It depends only on your choices, your discipline, your direction. And that's what the Stoics understood. That peace doesn't come from manipulating the world, it comes from mastering yourself. So let me ask you, my friends, why are you still making your healing about them? Why are you waiting for their reaction as if it holds the keys to your worth? Can't you see the trap? Every time you think, I wonder if they've noticed I'm gone, you hand them power. Every time you ask, I wonder if they'll regret leaving me, you make your silence about them, not about you. And here's the truth. If you can't control it, it's not yours to carry. Seneca once said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And isn't that exactly what waiting in silence feels like? You're suffering, not because of what they're doing, but because of what you're imagining they might do or not do. You're building castles of hope in your mind, and every time silence stretches on without their reaction, the castle crumbles. But the Stoic doesn't waste energy on castles that don't exist. The Stoic builds on rock, not sand. Now, let's talk about why this is so difficult. It's because letting go of control feels like surrender. It feels like giving up. But what you're actually doing is taking back your energy from a place it was never meant to be spent. Think of it like pouring water into a broken cup. No matter how much you pour, it leaks. That's what chasing reactions is like. You're pouring your energy into holes you can't patch. Control means taking that same water and pouring it into your own soil, your own garden, your own life, because that's where it grows. So what does this look like in practice? It looks like waking up and asking, what is mine to control today? Your body, that's yours. Are you feeding it, training it, honoring it? Your mind, that's yours. Are you filling it with knowledge, skills, focus? Your discipline, that's yours. Are you setting standards for yourself and meeting them? These are the places where silence becomes strength. Because when you pour into these, you no longer need their reaction. You already have your proof of progress. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine two blacksmiths. One spends his days staring at the door, hammer in hand, waiting for someone to notice him. The other spends his days at the forge, hammer striking steel, shaping weapon after weapon. Months later, which blacksmith commands respect? Not the one who waited, the one who built. Silence in the first man was wasted time. Silence in the second became the backdrop for transformation. And when the world eventually noticed, he didn't care, because by then the work had already given him everything he needed. That's the heart of Stoicism. You are not here to bend the world. You are here to bend yourself. And when you bend yourself into strength, the world often bends with you. Not because you forced it, but because people are drawn to power that doesn't demand attention. Now here's the kicker. The more you try to control what isn't yours, the weaker you become. The more you try to control what is yours, the stronger you get. So ask yourself right now, what are you gripping that was never in your hands? Their feelings? Their choices? Their regrets? Let it go. Grip tighter to what belongs to you, your standards, your routines, your craft, your purpose. Because when you do, your silence stops being a tactic. It becomes a byproduct of strength. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. Growth always does. You'll want to check their social media. You'll want to ask around. You'll want to peek through the window of their life. That urge will come, but every time it does, remind yourself of this. Am I feeding what I control or what I don't? And if it's the latter, step away. Redirect. Pour back into your forge, because that's where your power lives. Absence without transformation is invisible, but absence backed by mastery, that's unforgettable. Not because you're trying to be unforgettable, but because mastery always leaves a mark. People feel it when you've grown. Even if you say nothing, they sense it in your posture, your focus, your discipline. And here's the paradox. By the time they feel it, you won't be waiting for them to. You'll be too focused on the life you're building. So, my friends, here's your affirmation for this section. I control me. Write it in the comments. Say it out loud. Let it be your anchor when your mind drifts back to them. Because the man or woman who controls themselves cannot be ignored. Not because they demand to be seen, but because their presence speaks louder than any silence ever could. Stay with me, folks, because what comes next is where the shift gets even deeper. We're going to talk about how silence, when backed by transformation, stops being a tactic and becomes a truth. That's when your absence stops chasing and starts radiating. And that's when silence turns into authority. Number 5. Silence as transformation, not tactic. Silence without growth is just a pause. Silence with growth is a revolution. Sit with that for a moment, my friends, because this is where most people get lost. They think silence by itself is enough, as if muting their voice, vanishing from their life and holding their breath will somehow make the other person wake up in regret. But silence is not a magic trick. It is not a fishing hook. It's not a strategy you pull out of your pocket to manipulate someone else's emotions. Silence becomes power only when it's not about them at all. It becomes power when it's the byproduct of your transformation. Picture this. A man decides to stop speaking to them. He tells himself, "I'll show them my worth by disappearing." He doesn't text, doesn't call, doesn't show up. From the outside, it looks like discipline, but every night his mind is still circling the same orbit. He's still checking their posts, still replaying memories, still whispering to himself, "I hope they notice." That's not transformation. That's a tactic. And tactics without substance always fail, because people can feel the truth behind them. Here's the difference. When silence is a tactic, it's still tied to hope. It's still chained to their reaction. But when silence is transformation, it has nothing to prove. It doesn't need their recognition because the work itself is the proof. The silence is filled not with longing, but with growth. And that kind of silence speaks louder than 1,000 words ever could. Think of a blacksmith again. He doesn't stop hammering steel to impress the village. He hammers because the work itself forges strength. He disappears into the silence of his workshop, and months later, when he emerges, he carries weapons no one else can deny. That's transformation. Silence in the hands of a man who is becoming more, and when others finally see him again, it's not the silence they feel, it's the weight of who he's become. Now let me hit you with something raw. If your silence is designed to make them miss you, then it's still chasing. You may have stopped speaking, but your energy is still begging. You've taken the same neediness and dressed it in a quieter costume. And quiet neediness is still neediness. They can sense it. They know when your center is anchored in yourself and when it's leaning toward them for validation. And leaning, my friends, is always felt. But when your silence is the result of transformation, leaning doesn't exist. You're not holding your breath for their reaction. You're too busy breathing deeply into your own life. You're building, you're moving, you're growing, and that shift in energy is undeniable. It's not about what you withhold, it's about what you create. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." And that's the essence of this truth. Stop using silence as a debate, a game, a negotiation. Stop waiting for them to validate the choice you made to step back. Instead, let your silence be the echo of your evolution. Let it be the proof that you're not who you were yesterday. Let's go deeper. Why is it so tempting to use silence as a tactic? Because it feels easier than transformation. Silence costs nothing. You can stop calling today and it looks like strength, but transformation costs everything. It costs discipline, sweat, hours in the gym, hours with books, hours sharpening your craft, hours building something bigger than yourself. Silence as a tactic is cheap. Silence as transformation is priceless. One fades quickly, the other lasts forever. Now let me paint you a picture. Two men stop speaking. The first spends his silence waiting. He scrolls endlessly. He imagines scenarios. He tells himself stories about what they must be thinking. Weeks later, he's the same person, only quieter. The second spends his silence working. He runs until his lungs burn. He learns until his mind expands. He builds until his hands ache. Weeks later, he's not the same man anymore. When their names are mentioned, the first man is invisible. The second is undeniable. That's the difference between tactic and transformation. And here's the paradox, my friends. The moment you stop caring whether they notice is the moment they do, because people don't miss shadows, they miss light. And when you build yourself into someone radiant, someone who moves with purpose, someone who stands tall without needing an audience, then absence becomes heavy. Not because you designed it that way, but because truth always carries weight. Think of silence like a garden. If you just sit in the dirt, staring at the ground, waiting for flowers to grow, nothing happens. That's tactic. But if you dig, plant, water, nurture, protect, that garden blooms in silence. You don't need to announce it. One day, it speaks for itself. Transformation is the bloom. Tactic is the stare. Which garden are you cultivating? Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Silence as a tactic craves their attention. Silence as transformation doesn't need it. It's rich already because every moment is invested into something that compounds: strength, wisdom, skill, self-respect. So let me ask you, right now, is your silence a mirror or a forge? Is it reflecting the same old you, waiting quietly for their return? Or is it hammering you into someone new, someone unrecognizable, someone who no longer cares if they ever return? That's the question that decides whether your absence is noticed or forgotten. And here's the motivational truth. You don't need their reaction to prove your worth. You need your own reflection. The day you look in the mirror and see a man or woman who has grown in the silence, that's the day silence stops being a tactic. That's the day it becomes authority. Write this in the comments right now. Silence is my forge. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it. Because from this moment forward, your silence isn't going to be a waiting room. It's going to be a workshop. Not a pause button, but a launch pad. Stay with me, folks, because what comes next will cut even deeper. We're going to talk about detachment, not the cold, fake kind that leaks longing through every crack, but the kind of detachment that commands respect. Once you grasp that, you'll understand why silence, backed by true sovereignty, can shake the ground beneath anyone who ever thought they could take you for granted. Number 6. Detachment that commands respect. He who angers you conquers you. But it could have easily come straight out of the Stoic playbook. My friends, this is where most men and women get it wrong. They confuse detachment with coldness, silence with repression, distance with strength. But let's tell the truth today. Real detachment is not about pretending not to care. It's not about playing a statue, hiding behind a poker face, or acting like nothing touches you. Detachment is not the absence of feeling, it's the mastery of it. And mastery always commands respect. Picture this: a man sits across from someone who left him. He's silent, arms crossed, lips pressed tight, and in his head he's screaming, "Don't let them see you break. Don't let them see you want them." That, folks, isn't detachment, that's repression. And repression always leaks. It leaks through restless eyes, through nervous gestures, through the cracks in your armor, and the person sitting across from you. They feel it. They can tell that your center isn't calm. It's shaking behind the mask. And nothing loses respect faster than a mask that doesn't fit. Now imagine a different man. He's in the same situation, but his silence is not forced. It's natural. His posture is upright, his breathing calm, his eyes steady. He's not fighting to hide his feelings because he already mastered them before he walked into the room. His silence isn't a cage, it's an anchor. That's detachment. That's the kind of presence that makes people sit up and take notice. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you radiate something rare, self-governance. The Stoics called this sovereignty, the ability to rule yourself so completely that no one else can own a piece of your center. That doesn't mean you don't feel. you still care, you still love, you still bleed. But none of those feelings control you. They move through you, but they don't move you off course. And that, my friends, is why detachment commands respect. Because people respect what they cannot sway. Let me ask you a hard question. Have you ever been around someone who is completely at peace with themselves? Someone who doesn't scramble to fill silence, who doesn't flinch when things don't go their way, who doesn't bend to every emotional current around them? You can feel it, can't you? It's magnetic. That's the energy of detachment, not cold, not distant, but anchored. It's the kind of energy that says, I'm here, I care, but I do not need. And needing nothing from anyone, that's power. But here's the lie you've been living. You've told yourself, if I just ignore them, if I stop responding, if I act like I don't care, they'll respect me. Wrong. They don't respect indifference. They don't respect games. They respect discipline. They respect consistency. They respect someone whose silence is not performance, but a reflection of inner strength. Think of repression as a dam. You build it high, you force the water back, and for a while it looks solid. But sooner or later, cracks appear. The pressure builds, and the water bursts through, flooding everything in its path. That's fake detachment. You act like you're calm until one text, one memory, one trigger makes it all collapse. Now think of detachment as a river redirected. The water doesn't disappear. It's channeled into something new, something productive, something that multiplies instead of destroys. That's real detachment. It doesn't hide the energy, it masters it. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Detachment is that realization lived out. You stop bleeding your energy into people who no longer deserve it. You stop giving your focus to ghosts. You stop wasting your mornings scrolling through their shadows. Instead, you reclaim it all. You invest it back into your body, your craft, your purpose. And here's the paradox. The more detached you become, the more presence you carry. People feel it in subtle ways. In the way you walk into a room without urgency. In the way you don't rush to fill silence with nervous words. In the way your eyes aren't scanning for approval, but locked on horizons beyond anyone's reach. You become the person others can't shake. Because while they're moved by every passing emotion, you're rooted like a mountain. But let's not sugarcoat it. Building this kind of detachment isn't easy. It requires work. It requires stripping away the habits that keep you tethered. You can't master detachment if you're still feeding the ghosts. You can't delete their number at midnight only to search for it again at dawn. You can't unfollow their profile only to peek back every week. That's not detachment, that's addiction. And the first step of mastery is cutting off the supply that keeps you weak. My friends, masculine energy is directional. It's meant to move, to build, to conquer. But when you orbit someone who is no longer building with you, that energy turns inward and eats you alive. Detachment is taking that same force and pointing it forward again, toward work that multiplies, toward goals that stretch you, toward a life that makes you proud whether anyone's watching or not. And let me tell you this, when you reach real detachment, you don't have to announce it. You don't have to post quotes about cutting people off. You don't have to tell anyone, I'm done with them. Your life tells the story. Your actions become the announcement. And respect follows naturally, because respect isn't something you demand, it's something you command, and command comes only from mastery. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. If they showed up tomorrow, would you still live by the same disciplines you've built in their absence? If the answer is no, if you drop everything to orbit them again, then your detachment is fake. It's a costume you wear until temptation arrives. But if the answer is yes, if the routines, boundaries, and focus you've built are now non-negotiable, then congratulations. You've crossed the line from pretending to being, and being is what commands respect. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And that's the freedom detachment gives you. Freedom from their opinion, freedom from their validation, freedom from needing them to feel whole. You don't stop caring, you stop depending. You don't stop feeling, you stop drowning. You don't stop loving, you stop losing yourself in love. That's real detachment, and that's the kind of presence that makes others rethink what they lost. So let me leave you with this affirmation. Anchored, not swayed. Write it in the comments. Show yourself. Show the world. Because from this moment forward, you're not going to fake detachment. You're going to live it. You're going to anchor so deep in your own center that no storm, no rejection, no silence from them can move you off course. And when you live like that, respect follows without effort. Stay with me, my friends, because what comes next will flip the entire script. We're about to talk about purpose, the magnet stronger than any memory. When you align your life with something bigger than them, bigger than longing, bigger than loss, you'll discover why chasing purpose makes people chase you. And that truth will change everything. Number 7, purpose, the magnet stronger than their memory. A man without purpose is like a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wave, owned by every storm. That's the reality, my friends. And if we're being brutally honest, that's where most of you find yourselves when you try to use silence as a tactic. You think disappearing will make them miss you, but without purpose, your silence is nothing more than empty space. Empty space doesn't draw anyone in, it just echoes. But purpose? Purpose is a magnet, it's gravity. It pulls people toward you without you even trying, and once you understand that, you'll stop begging for attention and start becoming impossible to ignore. Let's paint a picture. Imagine 2 men walking down the same road. The first one has no destination. He wanders, stops every few steps to look around, waits for someone to notice him, waves at every passerby, hoping they'll walk with him. That man's presence is forgettable. Now look at the second man. He has his eyes fixed on the horizon. His steps are steady, his direction clear. He doesn't wave, doesn't slow down, doesn't beg. And yet, people turn their heads as he passes. They whisper, "Where's he going? What's he building?" That's purpose. That's the energy that makes people remember you long after you've left the room. Here's the hard truth. When your life revolves around them, you live in their gravity. Every thought, every mood, every action bends around their orbit. But when you align your life around a mission bigger than both of you, the pull shifts. You become your own center of gravity, and human beings, men, women, friends, strangers, are naturally drawn to that kind of force. Not because you're chasing them, but because purpose is magnetic. Marcus Aurelius said, "Stop wasting time wondering what a good man should be. Be one." And being one doesn't mean sulking in silence, hoping someone regrets leaving you. It means building a life that outgrows regret entirely. It means waking up every morning with clarity, with direction, with a task so consuming that you don't have space left for obsession. When you live with purpose, their memory doesn't own you. Your mission does. Think about the treadmill. Chasing someone who doesn't want you is like running on one. You sweat, you burn energy, but you stay in the same place. Purpose, on the other hand, is the open road. Every step takes you further. Every mile reshapes you. Every breath carries you closer to the man or woman you were meant to become. Which path are you on right now? Are you stuck sweating in circles, or are you moving towards something that can't be taken away from you? Now let's talk about why purpose works. It works because it replaces the space where obsession used to live. Right now, your days might be filled with distractions, scrolling, gossip, old playlists that rip open wounds, conversations that go nowhere, and in those empty spaces, their memory floods in. You wait, you ache, You imagine. That's how waiting keeps you tied to the past. Purpose cuts that cord. Purpose drags you into the future. When your hours are accounted for, when your energy is invested, when your mind is consumed by building, you don't have time to drown in yesterday. Here's where most men go wrong. They think purpose means vague dreams. They say, one day I'll be successful. One day I'll start that business. One day I'll hit the gym. That's not purpose. That's fantasy. Purpose is not someday. Purpose is today. It's specific. It's concrete, it's measurable, it's a blueprint carved in stone. Purpose says, in 90 days my body will move differently. Purpose says, in 6 months I'll master this skill. Purpose says, in a year my financial foundation will be unshakable. It's not about what you hope will happen, it's about what you make happen. And let's make this clear, purpose isn't about revenge. It's not about making them regret walking away, because if you're still building for them, then they're still at the center. That's not purpose, that's performance. True purpose is selfish in the best way. It's about becoming so aligned with your mission that their memory fades, not because you forced it, but because your life became too full for it to matter. Now here's the paradox. The more you live for purpose, the more people start chasing you. Not because you wanted them to, but because purpose shines. It signals discipline, direction, value. And those qualities are magnetic. That's why people whisper your name when you're not around. That's why curiosity creeps back into their mind, not because you sat in silence waiting, but because you grew so much in silence that they can't reconcile who you are now with who they thought you were. Seneca said, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Purpose is your port. Without it, every storm throws you off course. With it, every storm becomes fuel, even heartbreak, even silence, even rejection. You take the very thing that once broke you and feed it into your fire, and the fire grows until nothing can contain it. So let me ask you, my friends, if you weren't thinking about them, what would you be building? If every hour of your day was owned by something that mattered, what would your life look like? That's your first blueprint. Start small. Pick one mission and carve it into your routine. Align your days around it. Guard your energy like it's gold, because it is. Stop spending hours on distractions, on people, on habits that pull you off course. Every minute wasted is fuel stolen from your future. And here's the beautiful twist. The day will come when their memory tries to creep back in. But instead of pain, you'll feel something else. Indifference. Not because you don't care anymore, but because you're too full to look back. You'll be too busy walking your road, too busy building your mission, too busy becoming. And that's the moment you'll understand why purpose is the magnet stronger than memory. Because while memory pulls you backward, purpose drags you forward, and forward is where life is. So write this in the comments right now. Purpose pulls me forward. Let it be your declaration. Because when you live in purpose, their memory is no longer the magnet. You are. And the people who doubted you, who dismissed you, who left you, will one day realize they didn't walk away from silence. They walked away from the beginning of your rise. Stay with me, folks, because what comes next is the culmination of everything we've built so far. We're going to talk about the man or woman they can't even recognize anymore. Not because you faked strength, not because you played games, but because you transformed so deeply that the old you is gone. And when that day comes, you won't just win respect, you'll win yourself. Number 8, the man they can't recognize, but you can. The greatest victory is not in conquering others, but in conquering yourself. That's the truth that every Stoic knew, my friends, and it's the truth that closes the gap between the person you were and the person you are becoming. Because here's the reality. If all your silence, all your waiting, all your detachment, all your purpose doesn't lead to transformation, then you've wasted the fire that pain tried to ignite in you. But if you let that fire burn, if you feed it with discipline, with purpose, with growth, then you will one day stand as a man or woman they cannot even recognize. And the beautiful part, you will recognize yourself. Finally. Let's be honest. If they came back tomorrow and found you the same person they left, nothing changes. They could walk back into your life and press the same buttons, pull the same strings, and you'd be right back where you started. That's why silence alone isn't enough. That's why waiting isn't enough. Because the goal isn't to freeze yourself in time, hoping they'll miss you. The goal is to grow so radically that by the time their memory collides with your reality, the old version of you no longer exists. Imagine this. A man stands at the edge of a cliff, staring at the ashes of the bridge that just burned behind him. He could sit there, waiting for someone to rebuild it. Or he could turn around, start climbing and build a path up the mountain. Months later, the same person who lit that bridge might glance across and see him, no longer waiting at the edge, but standing tall at the peak. That's transformation. That's the man they can't recognize. Now here's the paradox. The transformation isn't really about them at all. They might be the spark that lit the fire, but the fire was always for you. Their leaving wasn't your ending. It was your ignition. It forced you out of your comfort zone, ripped away the illusion that you could stay the same, and demanded that you evolve or collapse. Most men collapse. Most men turn the fire into smoke signals, trying to catch their attention. But you, my friends, you are going to turn it into fuel. You're going to let it forge you into someone unshakable. Think about this. The man they can't recognize isn't just physically stronger, though your body will carry the marks of discipline. He isn't just financially more secure, though your bank account will reflect your growth. He isn't just mentally sharper, though your skills will multiply. No, the man they can't recognize is anchored in self-respect. He's guided by purpose. He's disciplined enough to keep building whether anyone claps for him or not. He's impossible to pull off course because he decides where he's going before he takes a single step. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." That's what transformation really is. It's the moment you stop existing for their memory and start living for your mission. It's the moment you stop being a reflection of who they wanted you to be and start becoming who you were meant to be. And when you step into that space, you don't need them to recognize you. You don't even need the world to recognize you, because you will. And that recognition is worth more than all the validation you've been chasing. Now, let me bring this closer. What does it actually take to become the man they can't recognize? It takes cutting away the dead weight, the numbers you keep scrolling to, the songs that chain you to old memories, the places that remind you of them. Every reminder is an anchor, and anchors don't let ships rise. Week by week, you strip them away until nothing holds you to the past. Then you create visible wins. Small at first, but undeniable. Push yourself in one arena, your body, your craft, your finances, until even you can't deny the man staring back at you in the mirror is not the man you were yesterday. Then you protect it with routine. Morning rituals, training blocks, focus hours so solid that backsliding becomes almost impossible. That's how you build, brick by brick, day by day. And here's the beauty of it. One day, whether it's months from now or years from now, you might cross paths with them again. They'll look at you and their mind will race, trying to reconcile the person in front of them with the person they once knew. They may regret, they may wonder, they may ache, but by then it won't matter, because the recognition you've been waiting for all this time will no longer come from their eyes. It will come from your own. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." This heartbreak, this silence, this fire, it was your friction, it was your trial, and now it's your polish. That's why I told you from the very beginning, this was never about making them miss you. This was about meeting the man you were always meant to become. So let me leave you with this vision. Picture yourself 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. Your body is stronger. Your finances are sharper. Your skills are undeniable. Your mind is calm. Your spirit is anchored. You're not begging for recognition. You're not waiting for their return. You're moving forward with such clarity that the past looks small compared to the life you're building. That's the man they can't recognize, and that's the man you will. Now it's time to make a declaration. Write this in the comments right now. I will not collapse. I will transform. Say it out loud. Show yourself. Show the world. Because the day you commit to that is the day you stop chasing shadows and start becoming light. And if this message hit you deep, if it cracked open something inside you, then don't let it end here. Press the like button, subscribe to Stoic Station. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because we are building something greater than broken hearts here. We are building unshakable men and women who no longer live for validation, but for purpose. Stay with me, my friends, because this journey isn't over. The next step, the next lesson, is waiting for you on the screen right now. Click it. Keep moving forward. Keep forging. Keep becoming. Because the man they can't recognize is already inside you. It's time to let him out.